The biggest hit against the Patriots this year has been strength of schedule. I tell you, it's had quite a weak strength of schedule. The Pats pals, we haven't been on track. We haven't been able to go week on week as much as we'd like to. But when we're here, we're bringing the vibes, and it's Patriots playoff vibes. Hello, welcome to Pats pals. I'm Shane.
I'm Skye.
We're in the playoffs. This is it.
Called it from the start. You know I said it from the start. I called it.
You have been a believer since day one. You did the win-loss game. You were like, we're winning double digits, easy enough. We're going to go on a run in the mid-season. Drake Maye MVP. You called it from the start. I've been the needlessly pessimistic one. And my pessimism is still carrying over, as we'll talk about later on. But you've everything you've said so far has proven to be correct. I'm hoping your positive vibes keep bringing more good results.
Thank you, mate. I think the main thing as well is like when we were in London for, I can't remember what game it was, but maybe it was around the week we were playing the Saints and we were walking with a few of the guys. I was like, Drake Maye, top 5 quarterback, getting laughed at, getting ridiculed. And now there is no question. And I'm sure if people listening will say, we'll talk about, resumes and careers, but, it might be ironic coming from a Patriots fan. We're not talking about the past. We're talking about this season, right? We're relevant again. Drake Maye is the MVP. I know Tom Brady's been doing his best, Gary Neville, and trying not to be too biased by picking Matt Stafford. But everybody who's been watching the tape this year knows that Drake Maye is the MVP.
That might have something to do with the fact that Tom Brady and Matt Stafford had a nice little meeting in Montana during the offseason, and Brady might still be wishing that Matt Stafford might change his career path to go to Las Vegas. But let's put that to one side. We're here talking about the here and now. It's funny, last night on when they were talking about the Man United game, where that Roy Keane was like, turn around and goes, United, Alex Ferguson hang around like a bad smell, and then that isn't happening with the Patriots. We're not talking about the past. Everything's the future. Like, people are saying we're a likable team, new quarterback, new coach, new culture, new everything. It's only been 2 years since Belichick is out the window, and it feels like a completely different team heading into playoff season.
It sort of feels like, when we spoke about other sports in one of our opening episodes, I said to you with like the NHL, like following the Sharks, and you see new things, different media, different sports. There was a Pats post the other day where there was like a lady showing all the different types of breakfast and food that they have. I don't know if you saw this, but one of the comments was like, I forgot that this is normal for a team social because we had Belichick for like over 2 decades. Like, we've never had this sort of access before to see what the players eat, like what's on offer for lunch. I was like, yeah, that's true. Don't know if I still am craving that content, but
We're normal people now. Well, now usually I was quite happy to not be normal people because it's not normal to win 6 Super Bowls in 2 decades. But now it just feels like we've caught up with the world a bit compared to the way the Belichick era ended. Look, that's when we're talking too fucking wishy-washy to say we've a pretty important game to look forward to this weekend. Mm-hmm. However, a couple of things need to address. Firstly, can we say Happy New Year? The Larry David rule is we can't say it after January 3rd, but it's January 9th. I feel like to you, I haven't seen you, I haven't talked to you much over the Christmas. Happy New Year. Hope you had a good holiday period.
Happy New Year to you as well. And I've probably admitted this too much in my day job this week. I've only been telling people I like since about Tuesday, Happy New Year. I've been in multiple meetings and interactions this week where people have said it and I've gone quiet. But then I've seen someone that I like and said, I hope you had a good New Year. So for you, I love you lots. You are the best. Look at us, Pats pals, and let's hope for some playoff magic to start 2026, right?
I feel honored that you decided to say Happy New Year to me. That's how I know. I'm on your New Year's honors. Like
you are.
The queen. So do you see this? I have some good merch, by the way. My brother came in clutch on Christmas. This is a 1994 style, 1990 style Teddy Bruschi jersey. You see in the back there. Remember those? I don't know. Were we together in Tottenham? And I was looking at this and I was like, "Oh, I like that." And then I put a picture of it on my Instagram. And then my brother was like, "I guess I'm getting that for Christmas." So, and he came in. Look at this. I'm in the full gear.
Look at that. Because I know all the times we spoke about like best jersey. That is the best Patriots jersey ever. I think we established that and the road jersey from that year, and then the AFL 50th. And which I still haven't found the white one.
The white one, yeah.
Still haven't found it, but when we win our 7th Lombardi and Pats Pals goes to the moon and we're in Boston next season for a game, we will track down that jersey.
I'd love to do a live show if we found some sort of Irish bar or like the Sam Adams
In
Brewery or
Boston.
something, and the two of us are on stage just doing doing a thing. I don't know.
With our
That'd be
accents and no. I think that's even possible next season. If people are like, what? The guys from UK and
that's
Ireland?
what I mean. Like I'm talking like September coming,
Yeah.
2026. That's what
They'll be
I'm talking. You know? We get up there and be like, "How the fuck are you?" You know, do the full do the full Boston accent. You know.
I'll leave the accents to you because if I do it, we might get kicked out.
Well, here's another accent related thing, right? Since I've last spoken to you, I finally finished The Sopranos.
Oh,
And I started watching it 3 years ago, and I finally finished it. That's how long it takes me to watch a series.
I think I did text you fucking finally or something along those.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, something along those words. The thing that obviously still for me best show ever, and then The Wire if anyone's not seen that.
I haven't watched The Wire, but now that the Ravens aren't going to be as much of a threat to us anymore, Harbaugh's out of the building, I feel like I can warm myself up to something based in Baltimore.
I don't think John Harbaugh will be watching The Wire anytime soon, but he spent enough time in Baltimore, so that's okay. But how do you feel about this? I know I sent you the post. How do you feel about us writing pretty good? Because it is a New York reference on that patch. But Larry David is obviously associated with the Jets.
A Jets reference specifically. I was like, pretty.
I know.
I don't know. Is it like a New Year's thing because everyone always talks about New Year's? Is it because John Hamm is doing the NFL honors?
Yeah.
And he was in Curb Your Enthusiasm doing we're reading way too much into this. Like we are too much Curb fans to read into how the Patriots.
Maybe people just say it, but I don't know of it other than that. But yeah, it was a bit interesting that. Obviously, I loved it. I mean, yeah.
Well, in fairness, we have struggled to curb your enthusiasm for Drake Maye and for Mike Vrabel, right? So I'm going to run a couple of things past you, right?
Okay.
MVP, who you're voting for? If as a neutral journalist, we say here sitting in our Patriots jerseys, who are you voting for?
Drake Maye.
You're giving it Drake Maye.
I think I know I've said this before, and it almost sounds like I sound like a true Bostonian. It would be a Pat's agenda if he wasn't given it. Because I love Matt Stafford. I used to watch the guy throw to Megatron, this tight end Brandon Pettigrew on Madden 09 or 010. I love Matt Stafford, and 46 touchdowns is impressive. And he could have probably, I would say, broke Peyton Manning's record of 55 if Adams hadn't had a dodgy hammy. But I just think when you don't finish let me put it into context for listeners, right? And for this is
you're about to give me the Bill Simmons argument. Have you seen Bill Simmons?
I may have seen Bill Simmons a couple. You tell me first, and then we'll do. You tell me.
So Bill Simmons has been like, I don't get what the world isn't seeing here. Look at the DVOA. Look at the high pass completion percentage. Look at the fact that even though the strength of schedule isn't very strong, the strength of defense that Drake Maye has played is very strong. But also he's like, every time we give the MVP, it's to somebody who wins their division. Stafford came second. Sorry, but he nearly came third.
A guy at work who played in our free fantasy league this year said to me, he was just asking, how's the NFL going? Because obviously his fantasy's been over for a couple of weeks. But Patriots, he looks at the playoff picture and he's like, who's been the best player? I was like, well, the MVP is either Drake Maye or Matt Stafford. He was like, Stafford's for the Rams, right? He's like, well, they're the 5th seed. He's like, that can't be right. And I was like, I'm very glad you said that because you don't even watch it, and you had, it's an astute observation. And we've gone from 4 wins to 14, and the main catalyst of that has been, if you remove coaching, Drake Maye.
It's even including coaching is Drake Maye. Like people are talking about we had Tara Sullivan from the Boston Globe on our podcast I do in work. And she was like, look. Every coach is saying that his deep passes are so accurate. It's the exact same as accurate as a handoff. Also, are you drinking Coke out of a glass bottle?
Yeah, Coke Zero glass. Pat's Pal, sponsored by.
You love your glass bottles. You're unbelievable. If like a glass bottle company wants to send us to Boston next year, we will be all about glass bottles.
I mean, it's very sustainable. Just like this Drake Maye next era of the dynasty.
Oh my God! What a segue! You're cooking.
So we're ready. And I don't think. Oh my god, it hurts my brains when we talk about this the Stafford Drake May thing. People talk about the change the schedule. This like I love when a Pats fan puts. I love like strength of schedule pass, and it's like him hitting like a 60-yard deep ball.
Yeah. Or like
It's
that
like,
that one to Diggs on the right hand side in the Now, here's the thing, right? Because I'm actually battling this in my own head. I haven't made a decision between Stafford and Maye as to who I would vote for, right? Because I've been saying all the way through Stafford, and then there was that Falcons game. I'm like, I don't know, right? Look at the strength of offensive line and wide receivers Stafford has, but at the same time, look at the quality of defense he's had to face, compared to the strength of schedule that Drake May's had to face. It is, like Stafford has really good offensive line, giving him better protection than Drake May has gotten. He has Puka Nacua and Devontae Adams. We have Stephon Diggs and Keyshawn Booty. No disrespect to Stephon Diggs, Keyshawn Booty, and Hunter Henry, but they're not Puka Nacua and Devontae Adams. They're just not.
No, they're not. And I mean, anyone would be lying to themselves, Pats fan or not, if you were saying come into the season you had any confidence in our wide receiving core. Because Keyshawn Booty, if you saw, he did I think it's been released an article, like really like wholesome article about like how the gambling stuff caught up with him. I think he walked into a room last season, basically said how like he was done with football. Obviously, really like happy that the Pats stuck by him. There'll be a lot of question marks over Kyle Williams without even having a snap, just because of our history of drafting receivers. Diggs had his injury in Houston, and even you and I even had some question marks in those early episodes about how he's going to fit in. So yeah, the whole receiving room basically was like, who's going to step up? And Butte said that in this interview and talk about where he's like, Drake May doesn't just have a guy; he will spread the ball around, and that is that's the sign of a great quarterback as well. Not force feeding, and I think that's also a sign of your receivers respecting you, because sometimes average to lesser quarterbacks have the vocal power to be like, well, you should be passing to me 10 times a game. If you've got the skill that Drake May has, you have no right to say that, because get open, then I'll find you.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Right, Coach of the Year.
Oh, this is so tough, but I wouldn't give it to Vrabel.
As much as I love Vrabel and the job he's done, I agree with you. Right, I'm torn between Ben Johnson and Kyle Shanahan, and I don't like the Niners, but I'm torn between Ben Johnson and Kyle Shanahan.
Liam
Cohen also a shout.
I would have given it to Shanahan if they had beaten the Seahawks. I think at the midway point of the season, it was Shane Steichen was in the running, or Mike McDonald. Obviously, I did also call the Colts dropping off, so that's great.
I'm convinced everything has gotten worse since we saw the Colts play. We cursed them.
That's perfect.
Yes, what I mean. It's just completely bin them off. I'd like to say that Sauce Gardner is probably the real curse, but it was really us.
I think. Do you know what? I'm happy with that. And obviously you can't do it in media settings. But I was walking around being very professional and things to be like, I just don't think Daniel Jones is the guy to get you over the, just being very like careful with my and like I know you can sort of look at but he got hurt, but no, it's just not going to happen. But I actually think I think Ben Johnson, because of the history of the Bears and the division hype going into that year, and I remember, obviously, we're not going to go all for things I got wrong. We'll only look at things I got right. I said the Bears would win that division. So I think he should be given it. Because as much as Vrabel's done a great job with Drake May, I know he's had to learn this Josh McDaniels offense and it's unlocked things. But I would say there's a bit more complexity with what Ben Johnson brings. And Caleb has handled that and, progressed, especially throughout the season.
Yeah. Good point. Who do you think are the Super Bowl favorites out of all 12 teams left? Okay, sorry, right. Let's take a step back from this.
You have a Super Bowl favorite.
I'll explain it, right? Let's take a step back from this, right? The favorites win the NFC, and then we'll talk about the AFC later because that's obviously more relevant to us. Who do you think is the favorite to win the NFC?
I'm going purely off of the bracket. I think the Rams still.
I agree with you. I agree. I 100% agree because I think the way the bracket works out, they would have an NFC Championship game against the Seahawks. I think, unless Chicago and Philadelphia win, then the Rams have to go to Seahawks next week, and even then, I still trust them to win.
I was going to say, yeah, if the Packers don't beat the Bears, I'm pretty sure the Rams will go to
Seattle.
Well, I know, but yeah, I know what you mean actually, because Niners. But yeah, I think either way, I just think the Rams will beat the Seahawks because they had that amazing shootout game, and that was without Adams. And I think Sean McVay, you know how much I'm always saying, he's the best coach in the now after this season with what's happened with the Chiefs. I already had him at 2. I think Sean McVay is the best coach in the NFL.
Completely. I mean, look at his coaching tree and look at everybody else that they've taken out. It seems like what's rule 1 of how every head team that has a head coaching vacancy, especially Miami, isn't going for what's his name? Is it Chris Shula, the defensive coordinator there, who's done such a good job?
Yes.
Is he is he son of
Don Shula?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, why he isn't like the favorite to become head coach of Miami, I don't know. For that reason alone, but this is how good they are. It's every coach that was in, even the defensive coordinator who's now at Carolina, comes from that tree and has done a nice job there. Like, it's just Sean McVay is just incredible.
And in a one-off game, like he's probably one of the few coaches where obviously when they lost the Super Bowl to us, and I'm not even just saying that just to put it in for the sake of it, but like, I know probably he got caught up in the whirlwind of it, like picking Belichick's ear prior to the game and like Brady this and that. But you can see like he really used that experience to like take that franchise forward. And then obviously they went on and won a Super Bowl. And then a lot of people said, oh, well, they sold their soul to win that one because they gave all their picks away. But then they're hitting on people like Nakua late on. And, Jared Verse has done what he's done since he's been drafted. And they just always seem to... Yeah.
Here's the gas thing about like when you were talking about the picks. Do you know how long their rebuild phase lasted? One May season, and that was it. They're back again. Like, come on, like considering considering many teams who tried to go all in on all the picks and everything, and it's completely bottomed out for 5 years just to get a Super Bowl. It's just, I know, it's great.
So I'd say the Rams on the NFC side.
AFC, who are the favorites? This is actually objectively more difficult to call.
Yeah, I think I agree, and I feel harsh saying this because I've spoke so well about the Jags, but I'm not convinced by them in the playoffs. And as much as that Denver game did concern me from the Broncos' point of view, I still think that going there in the playoffs, the only team that I think can beat the Broncos there, I hate to say it, is the Bills.
I knew you'd say that. And the thing is, if the Bills beat the Jags this weekend, and we beat the Chargers, that's what's going to happen. The Bills will have to go in and knock out the Chargers next week, or the Broncos next week.
And I know I'm looking far ahead, and we might not even play them, but I don't. I'm sure the Bills probably feel it a little bit about playing the Pats, but I don't want to play the Bills again. And I would say I'm torn between. I'm probably 80%. I'm still high on the Broncos.
AFC Championship game in Foxborough against the Bills. You don't fancy us? I don't either. You're right. I 100% agree with you. I'm just like, I'm testing your optimism here. I'll be honest, right?
I have to not listen to Haley Steinfeld for songs for a year.
A month. Give yourself until draft, and then you can't look. Drake Maye and Josh Allen have actually got great respect for each other. Because they're similar kind of quarterbacks, they're both good guys. They're going to be battling for a while. We can respect that. We don't hate the Bills the way we hate the Jets and the Dolphins. I just don't want them to win. There's a difference.
The thing that's really annoying is I think this is I've said to you off air and other conversations. Like the older I get, like there's not really like a strong hatred for a lot of things in sport. It does become more of a respect thing. I mean, more than not, like just in terms of like your day job, you look at things a bit more objectively. Or at least, try to, even when there's a sports passion behind it. Josh Allen's numbers are insane. Like, in every playoff run they've had, maybe other than I think his first start against Houston, it's never been him that's let the Bills down. So as much as I never would sit here and say, I want the Bills to win a Super Bowl, I think as a player and, what he's achieved in that level, I would be some sort of respect in a way to be like, you finally got over the hump.
See, I like Josh Allen, and I'm writing about it for the paper this weekend. This is his chance now. The big four are gone.
Yeah.
I agree with you. I trust the Bills to go in and take down the Jags. The Jags are the hottest team in the league. They're the only ones to go into Denver and get something so far this year. It's difficult to back against them, but you know, playoffs. It's a different game. The thing is, though, right? Since Josh Allen has come into to Buffalo, he is 0-4 on the road in the playoffs. Now, I think 3 of those were against the Chiefs.
Wow.
I,
Three
I,
against the Chiefs and
one against the Texans years ago.
yeah, and then their only other playoff loss was to the Bengals, that one in the snow, but they were at home for that. Yeah.
Yes, yeah. So that's the thing. Like they've been dumped by the Chiefs for the last 5 years. To own 4 on the road, but again, that's 3 of those against the Chiefs.
Warm weather Jacksonville, not
Yeah, no, Jacksonville is one thing, but then Denver the following week. That's a huge game. If it goes out that way, and I'm assuming the Patriots win in that scenario because the Bills will be the 6th seed, and move up. But here's the thing, like. We were in the studio for the Irish NFL show last week, and they said, "Look, what do you think about the Patriots' chances?" I said, "Honestly, I think we're a one and done team in the playoffs unless we play the Chargers in the first round." And I still believe that. I'm looked through every other team in the playoffs except for the Steelers. Let's assume the Texans are going to beat them. Like I don't trust us to go into Buffalo or into Denver. Buffalo, I think, actually gives the best chance because of familiarity, but it's also the biggest weakness because of the familiarity. I mean, we did a nice job against them. We were 21-0 up, let's not forget, in Foxborough, but then the defense could really shut down. It's funny, the Patriots are the best defense in the league in terms of keeping teams out of the red zone, but are the 3rd worst in the league when it comes to actually keeping teams out of the red zone once they're in the red zone. There's a nice guy. So when NBC, as it happened a couple weeks ago against the Ravens, were like, the Patriots are actually the worst red zone defense in the league, that is correct, but we're the best in the league at keeping them out of the red zone in the first place. So we're very much a bend but don't break. But if we bend too far, we're fucking broken. That's the way this Patriots defense is playing all year, and that's what I'm afraid of because, like Baltimore should have beaten us. Look at the way I genuinely think Baltimore should have beaten us.
That was a great comeback though. That reminded me of a playoff game. We needed a win like that.
But Baltimore had our defense beaten. But they went with the wrong scheme in the second half.
Yeah.
All credit to the offense for making the comeback, but they had our defense was beat that day.
There's poor play calling, which is why things have unfolded like they have, I think, now with the coaching staff. That's been like that for a couple of years.
So, like, if the playoffs goes, I think they will, and I'm backing the Bills to beat the Jags, the Texans to beat the Steelers, and us to beat the Chargers. And we'll talk about that matchup now in a minute. In that situation, we then have to host the Texans the following week. And I wouldn't, at this juncture, there's still a week to play. Maybe it won't turn out like this. I usually have a pretty good record of predicting the wildcard round, and I have an awful record of predicting the divisional round.
Okay.
There was one year where I did it for the paper, and I was 6-0 in the wildcard round, and I was 0-4 in the divisional. 0-2 in the championship, and I predicted the Super Bowl wrong as well. But I was 6, but I still ended up
balances out.
So I ended up at 6-7 for the playoffs. I'm like, what the heck?
The only thing I wanted to say before we obviously go into our game is just that there's always an upset, I feel like, in this opening weekend. And I agree, by the way, Pats, if we do lose to the Chargers, we'll come on to that. If we do lose, that's not an upset, right? I think it's quite a coin. I'm confident, as are you, but I think the Chargers actually are a bit as well, and I've seen from their fans. Jags should be confident. As
much the Chargers are a 7 seed, this isn't a shock like the Panthers beating the Rams.
No. So, but I think if we get through to Monday Night Football and the Pats and Bills have won, I do think like it's not easy, whatever their new stadium is, but Heinz Field's still not an easy place to go to. And for me, Aaron Rodgers did play his best game that I've seen him play as a Steeler, actually, against the Ravens. So I think potentially they could win. And if we play the Steelers, we're in the AFC Championship.
See, I'm glad you're saying that, because if the Steelers win, we don't go to Heinz Field. They come to us.
I know, and we win.
And all that we do is make sure remind receivers to give up 5 turnovers or whatever it was in week 3.
It was 5, yeah.
And then we're in the AFC Championship game. You're right. I like it. That's definitely changed my view, because if we beat the Chargers and the matchup is against the Steelers in the divisional round, I'd back us then, but I wouldn't back us against the Texans.
No, because I don't want them to get hot because they're already hot. And you probably saw the video I did recently. I was looking back at the last time Broncos and Seattle obviously got that 1 seed. The Texans for me are pretty much a mold, the same mold as that Seahawks team that won their first Lombardi. An elite defense on all levels. It's not just one level that we're talking about. And I mean, people. I know obviously there was guys like Doug Baldwin, Jermaine Kearse, but they weren't household names at that point. And I feel like that's where we're at with the Texans, other than Nico Collins. So, yeah, they're strong.
Don't know what happened there. Sorry.
But no, so yeah, I think if the Texans can get over this game, then the confidence is there. And I know they have to go on the road a bit, but like they're good.
The Texans would have to go on the road to us, or depending on how the rest of the games go. Like if the Jags win, then the Texans have to go to Denver. And I would actually probably back the Texans.
The Texans are kind of like when the Giants won those 3 road games that year and went all the way. Same mold, strong defense.
It's funny you said, because that's the Bills have to do, but I don't trust. But the Bills' defense is I don't trust enough further down the line. Either way, whoever wins the NFC is winning the Super Bowl. I've said it from the start of the year, and I still believe that. Unless it's us. So it's funny actually. You go online, you see the amount of people who have picked the Patriots to win the Super Bowl. You know, people are doing their brackets, and like I think it's like NFL.
Harry Kane left his bias. I mean, obviously love Harry Kane, but I like he picked a Pat Seahawks Super Bowl. I was like,
there's a lot of people predicting a Pat Seahawks Super Bowl.
Really?
I don't know what I don't know whether people want. I think that's one people want to see, because obviously the greatest Super Bowl ever was between those two teams, and people want a rematch. I just see a lot of now. At what point is it just people who are in the UK and Ireland just predicting the Patriots because they see the Patriots logo and be like, well, they're going to get the Super Bowl. I've seen them a million times, and like, nah, it's different era now. So
if we lost the Super Bowl to Sam Darnold after that famous seeing ghosts obviously clip when he was on the Jets, I wouldn't really be able to sleep for a bit, to be honest.
What is your dream Super Bowl matchup? Patriots versus
Patriots versus
right. Right. What you're thinking, right?
No.
Okay. Right. I would say Patriots Rams, because I like the idea of a trilogy. Also, we have a 2-0 record against the Rams. If we think about it, the Patriots dynasty started with a win against the Rams and ended with a win against the Rams. I would like for this new era to start with a Super Bowl against the Rams, right?
I don't think anyone's ever gone 3-0 though in a Super Bowl trilogy, have they?
No, the only pairing that have met 3 times
is Steelers Cowboys.
The Steelers Cowboys, and the Cowboys are 2-1. No, the Steelers are 2-1.
Yeah.
Steelers winning twice in the 70s, Cowboys winning in Super Bowl 30. Right? So, and my dream scenario is one of the NFC West teams. I think either of those 3 will be just great cinema.
Mm-hmm.
Either of those 3, because like the Eagles, forget about it, it'll be a boring game. Their defense will be all over us. And like as much as the Eagles will be a great trilogy in that we've beaten them once, they've beaten us once, and like there's a Northeast thing, and Eagles fans are assholes and we're assholes, but we're nicer. It's you know, I get that, but I just don't want to see the Eagles in the Super Bowl. I'll be honest.
It would be awful. The dream game obviously is the Panthers Pats. We played them in the Super Bowl.
Drake May playing against his childhood club.
Exactly. Cam Newton having a breakdown when Drake May wins a Super Bowl.
And commenting on your post again.
Exactly. And then Drake May imagine this celebration in the Super Bowl, and then like this, as he rushes over the game winner.
But here's like, I'd like the Rams. I think the Seahawks, I think it's great color, memories of the last Super Bowl. And if Sam Darnold is going to blow up and bottle a game, it's going to be the Super Bowl. If he doesn't bottle and completely blow up and throw 4 interceptions in the playoffs, he's going to do it in the Super Bowl.
It's going to come at some point, yeah. So
exactly. So I think the Rams, I think Patriots Rams is the battle between the 2 best quarterbacks. It just is. Patriots Niners, wouldn't it be great to be the one team to go into the home stadium of another team when they're playing in the Super Bowl, get the job done against those Niners? I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think the Niners
are pumped because you do not like the Niners.
No, I'm okay with the team. I like Kyle Shanahan. I like Christian McCaffrey. I don't like Niners fans. That's different.
Okay.
Um,
I like a lot of their players, and I think that would be an entertaining, high-scoring game.
yeah. I mean, obviously, there is also the potential for Super Bowl 20 rematch against the Bears, which would be like great sort of for the future. But I don't think the Bears are strong enough to make that happen. And I'm not even going to entertain the idea of the Packers or the Panthers making a Super Bowl. So because it's just not going to happen. You can clip that.
Yeah, I mean, if the Panthers make the Super Bowl, then yeah, let's not even go there.
They're 200 to 1. Now, Leicester were 5,000 to 1 and they won the league. So
I'm pretty bad at betting, but even I wouldn't put that on. And I mean, I've been on the podcast recently. By the way, as we know, because we could talk about this on Pat's Pals, that $2,000 I said about putting the Chargers to beat the Cowboys would have come in.
We were on a podcast. Sorry, that's the last time. I knew I spoke to you over the Christmas.
We were on Ravens game. We did.
Yes. Yeah. We were on Good Teams Win. Great teams cover. Shout out guys if you're listening. I know you're fans. And you just like had this burst out being like, I put that there's your mortgage paid. What was the game?
It was Chargers Cowboys, and I was like, put $2,000 on the Chargers, you'll get 4,600 back. That's Christmas sorted.
Fuck's sake.
I was right.
I still can't believe you said that. The fact that you were right doesn't make it any less irresponsible. It doesn't blur it out. That's Christmas sorted, lads.
But what I'm saying is, I wouldn't even put £1 on the Panthers to win a Super Bowl. So,
not even £1, 200 to 1. £1.
I've got some good friends of mine from North Carolina, so maybe for them I could stomach £1 to bring some good luck.
Well, I was about to make a bad joke there. I wasn't. Well, here's the thing. You're talking about, the idea of stomaching a pound. I definitely couldn't hack the idea of stomaching a pounding to the Chargers. I mean, we have to. This game is going to be close. You're laughing there. Let's talk about this game. Go on, say it. Go on.
No.
Say it.
Let's hope Justin Herbert's been busy doing that all week, that he'll be tired for Sunday without saying the words.
What else are you doing in California, to be fair? You know what I mean? Like everything's a drive away. You might as well stay in the house.
If I was dating Madison Bear, I wouldn't be ready for Sunday. Yeah.
Bolt up. Anyway, here is the lay of the land of the game, which kicks off at 1:15 a.m. Irish and UK time on Sunday. It is the NBC game, which is my favorite treatment. I'm looking forward to going into work on Monday morning, hopefully bouncing off the back of a win, but I will be tired. This is the thing. The Chargers defense and the Patriots offense is strength versus strength. Mm-hmm. And the Chargers offense versus the Patriots defense is a bit more weakness versus weakness. I mean, look at the stats. I mean, the Chargers are tied third in the league for interceptions. They're the best in terms of quarterback rating allowed. They only allow 180 yards per game on average, which is fifth in the league. They rarely allow more than 20 points in the game. They're fifth in yards per game, fourth in red zone defense, fifth and third down defense. They're very, very blitz heavy, and depending on how the Patriots offensive line holds up, that could be dangerous. That said, Drake Maye does a really good job in the scramble. That's been one of the real highlights of this year, and why he's in the MVP conversation and why Josh McDaniels does a really good job is that in those pressure moments, he knows what to do, and he's quite strong at that, and it's become a real strength. It's made things very unpredictable, and receivers get open. That said, Donald Jackson is still a lockdown corner, but against the run, they give up a lot. They usually give up about 4.5 yards per carry. So if Ramondre Stevenson and Trayvon Henderson are on fire and don't turn the ball over, which in fairness hasn't happened with Stevenson for most of the regular season, that's been a big improvement of his. Then you can paint a picture there that the Patriots can put up against that offense. On the other side of things, there is how our defense holds up against Justin Herbert. And look, Herbert is a broken left hand. His offensive line is super, super, super banged up. I was talking about red zone efficiency and all that kind of thing, and we all about the quality of Gonzalez and Carlton Davis and Marcus Jones. That's a bit more variable to me. So I don't know how you see this game and how you see those matchups.
Yeah, I think the main like Dio on one of the podcasts I've done this week, like Joe Alt's been injured for that long. I forgot Joe Alt was on the Chargers. You know, we just have like obviously great player, like blue chip player, like he'll be great for years to come.
Corn fed out of Iowa, I think. He played for Notre Dame. That's the kind of guy you want on an offensive line.
Right. So obviously big, but like their second string left tackle injured as well, whose name I did remember the other day and now I have forgotten, but basically that's how banged up they are. And I just think as much as our pass rush has probably been middle of the pack, it's a good opportunity to get pressure to Justin Herbert. I'm really glad you said, because since those episodes I've done throughout the week, coming into this one, didn't know, but you just said about Justin Herbert, third most picks in the league after Geno and Tua. That obviously fills me with confidence. So that's great. And he is playing with a broken hand. And look, whilst it might not be his throwing hand, it still has an impact. I think the key is, which we've seen in the early parts throughout the season, in that Amari Hampton will be great as well for years to come. But we've kept a lot of special and more established running backs under, there was that stretch of like 7 or 8 games of under 50 rushing yards. I think if we do that again, then we can pretty much limit the run game, and then it makes their play calling a bit more predictable. I am slightly worried that I've seen plenty of white boy slot receivers do very well for us over the years. And then if I say all of this, then maybe Lad McConkey turns up on Sunday and gives us a taste of our own medicine. But I mean, look, Will Campbell's back. I think Wilson might be back. Obviously, he was in the concussion protocol. So we're healthy. And I think that our strengths outweigh theirs, is what I'm getting at.
I think that's a good point. So just to clarify what I was saying, their defense is tied third when it comes to interceptions, but Justin Herbert is fourth in the most interceptions thrown in the league. So you're right there. He's thrown 13 interceptions for 26 touchdowns. For context, Sam Darnold's thrown 14, Tua 15, and Geno 17. He's thrown nearly as many interceptions as he has touchdowns, which I think, like, because Gonzo only has to get one of those. Do you know what I mean?
And Carlton Davis has been great. I mean, the amount of times I've texted you about like the season he's had. My concern when I mentioned about McConkey still comes from, I don't ever see any other Patriots fans saying it, but like obviously Spillane's been dealing with an ankle injury. I know Jack Gibbons and guys have stepped up well. Like Tavai, there's been like rotation.
Spillane seems to be good for this week.
Okay, that makes me more confident because I've said since the offseason, like going into next season, I still think the linebacker position is something where like a guy like Devin Lloyd who might be available, someone like that could be, someone we might want to look at. Obviously, good defensive play calling and being a collective, well-disciplined group has maybe covered for some talent issues. Sounds harsh, but like everyone's playing as a team. But yeah, it's in the playoffs. That bar is raised. No matter what numbers we look at for the Chargers, they still do have plenty of playmakers. But I'm just more confident in. I'm just more confident in our game plan and the way that we've executed it lately. And Stevenson and Henderson now have got to be the best 1-2 punch in the league. They've got, especially when we look at like, say, the last 6 weeks. So I think mixing that in, that keeps the Chargers defense honest. We don't need to just attack the secondary because we don't have an established run game. And it's very rare that your 1-2 punch actually are both good out of the backfield as well. I think we've already seen it's probably got into that Gibbs-Montgomery sort of efficiency from, say last year or even early parts of this season. So again, I think that is the key, is like getting those guys involved in wheel routes, get the run game going a bit, and then the play action passes will open up for your guys like Butte. And I think Kyle Williams will be important this postseason as well. He's been having more snaps, and his speed will probably come in handy a lot. Like, look at that catch against the Ravens.
Yeah. The only thing is, I just hope that Garrett Bradbury is back. He's questionable coming into this one. Keishon Boutte, I know, is questionable.
Yeah.
I know Matt Collins is on the injured reserve list, but Hunter Henry is still, Hunter Henry and Stephon Diggs are still the two main guys that
make throws. Sorry, I've been saying that all week. Revenge game. I love a little against your old team.
There's always a great storyline.
I think that's the storyline. If we win, Hunter Henry will have a big game.
Yeah, and as well as that, I mean, I don't know whether it's something in the DNA. Remember last year, like the Chargers came in last year, and they had much fewer injuries. They were on the road to Houston, and they were like, all I had to do then is just play as they normally do, and they'll have Houston for lunch. And the Texans just played way better football than them. And I was like, do you trust in prime time in Foxborough, all the good vibes happening and the good culture happening in New England, and the way Drake May is playing? You think the Chargers have enough to go in there and do the job? I don't. Genuinely, I don't. So uh, I'm going for the Patriots to win 24-17.
You're going for a score. I haven't even thought about a score all week. I'm going to go
That's why
27-19.
27-19.
Yeah, I feel like their offense is probably one of the more concerned. Like, Harbaugh still has a bit of I don't know what their fourth down numbers are. I'm just more thinking like in terms of when I've watched the Chargers this season. I don't think they're as aggressive on fourth downs as other teams, or at least in a playoff game, at least when he was head coach of the Niners. I know it was obviously a decade ago, but I think he's quite, or even in his time in Michigan, I think he's quite calculated in terms of like taking points. So maybe Chargers have a few early field goals, and then we can get a couple of drives together. And I think 8 points is about fair. Like I still respect this team, but I just think we have enough to get it done.
Right, we're gonna be waiting all day for Sunday night. I love that song, by the way, when they kick off. Like, God, I love NBC so much. I've been waiting all day, but we've heard it.
Show all the clips of when we beat them over the years, obviously 06, 07. One thing, sorry, I was going to say. So obviously the 06 game when they were the favourites.
The divisional round.
Yes.
Yeah.
That game. I can't remember what happened that season, but what I was getting at was 07, we made the Super Bowl and lost, annoyingly. But then obviously the big Sony Michel game, when I sent you the highlight the other day, we won the Super Bowl that year. There's always good things happen when we play the Chargers in the playoffs.
Good juju happening there. It's always, it's always good to know. What did I say? I think no, I was going to say the last time the Pope was elected, we were in the Super Bowl. We weren't. That was the Seahawks one. Everybody's trying to find some reasons to believe. I mean, yeah, I'm really looking forward to this game. I'm looking forward to staying up for it. Out of the rest of the weekend's actions, what do you think is the biggest game to watch? For if you had to watch one non-Patriot game?
I think the Bills Jags is the sexy game for the British fans and the neutral. However, I think for the hardcore NFL, probably Americans, Niners Eagles.
Niners Eagles. Okay, so I'm torn between. I think Jags Bills is going to be a great game.
Yeah.
I'd be interested to see how the Bills react and Josh Allen comes out to see his great moment and all this. Bears Packers. Bears haven't beaten the Packers in the playoffs since the day after the Pearl Harbor attacks. Fun fact.
What? That is a great fun fact.
They've only played twice in the playoffs in history: the 2010 NFC Championship game, and then in the NFL, the old NFL in 1941.
Do you know that 2010 game? I remember that. Jay Cutler getting injured during the game. My mate went to that game.
It was in Chicago. Was that in Chicago?
Yeah.
It was on
the road, and then
yes,
and
they beat the Steelers in Super Bowl. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. My mate went to that game, and it was obviously buzzing. But I remember that was the whole time where like every year NFL.com would be like, "Can Jay Cutler get over the hump?" And then he got injured in that game, and then like he sort of fell by the wayside. But still, shout out Jay Cutler. He gave us some good memories back in the day. Old school red zone, old school fantasy points.
Old school, yeah. You're more old school than I am. So if we do play the Steelers next week, by the way, you have to bring your whole history lesson because you're great on the history of the matchups and pits and Patriots Steelers. I've got some great ones in the bank.
Yeah, and I'll have loads of playoff wins too. And to be fair, going into this Chargers one, like the 3 games I mentioned, I know they're probably the standout ones for the Pats fans, but actually the one that always sticks in my mind was we beat them the year that we beat the Seahawks, 2014. And it was like late in the year, 41. Basically, what I'm getting at was it was a Sunday night football game in 2014. And I remember Gronk having a big game, getting a touchdown.
Tom Brady threw a 69-yard touchdown pass to Julian Edelman midway through the fourth quarter as the New England Patriots beat the San Diego Chargers 23-14.
Yeah, we had obviously Brandon LaFell was on that team. He had a great season. Obviously, won the Super Bowl. But I did a night shift. And as I was turning my airplane mode off to call my dad to pick me up from the station, to then go home and watch the recording, a notification popped up telling me the score of the game. And as you know, I hate spoilers. I still went back and watched the whole game. And even more annoying is that same season is when we lost to the Packers in Lambeau, and I didn't get spoiled on that one. And that one was a loss. And that was also after a night shift.
Working on the night moves.
But no night shift this Sunday. Only good vibes, Pats win, and the lobster burger I've been looking at. Maybe do have something Boston themed this weekend.
When I was in Boston, they used to have the McLobster in McDonald's.
Yeah.
Terrible. It was god awful. Now, I got out of New Orleans last year. I think I'm allergic to shellfish anyway, but like,
it's done, yeah. I didn't know that. I didn't know they didn't sit well with you last year.
Yeah, because remember the three of me, you, and Freddie went out to eat in New Orleans, and I was like, "Oh my god, this is brilliant!" And immediately I was like, "I have to go to the bathroom."
Yeah, so. I don't think it sat well with you, but I was. Yeah, I don't know why earlier I was looking at like food for like I don't know, trying to think of something I could eat for good juju for the Pats to win.
For Boston,
and I found a lobster smash burger, and I was like, "That sounds pretty."
Would you like to find some Dunkin' Donuts coffee somewhere? That's Boston currency.
Yeah,
as in literally, like when I lived there, people were like, I owe you $12. You owe me 3 dunks."
Really?
Yeah. It was like currency because we just bought Dunkin' Donuts for each other every day. It was great. As in the coffee, not the actual donut. What?
I don't do hot drinks.
Iced coffee.
Okay, yeah.
But see, I like iced coffee, so that's the
first thing is I had a frappuccino recently and it was unreal.
Iced coffee is the way to go, baby. I'm just saying, it's all in the future.
Okay.
So yeah.
And speaking of the future, let's hope Monday we'll be texting each other during the game anyway. But let's just hope for a win, because one last thing on this game, obviously Justin Herbert, like you said, having that really awful game last playoffs, I don't think people really realize how much mental impact it has to get a win early in your career in the playoffs. And look, whatever happens this season, it's been special, but I do think it leaves a slight sour taste if you lose a home playoff game. So if we can at least get one win, then whatever happens after that, I'm confident for next year. But being one and done, I know it's a bit greedy, but I think being one and done just wouldn't sit right. Even if it's a loss by like a walk-off field goal or something, I just think it'd be a bit of a downer, a Debbie Downer.
Well, when Tom Brady got his first playoff win, it was against an AFC West opponent, and it was when a team in the East were currently demolishing their old stadium and moving to a new one. That was the Patriots. Drake Maye is playing in his first playoff game. It could be a snow game, the way that the weather is looking for Boston, playing against a team in the AFC West, and the Bills are currently demolishing their old stadium and moving to a new one. So it's all lining up. That stadium bit was a bit far-fetched, but it's all lining up.
That's good. I like that.
Yeah.
But then we also won the Super Bowl in the year of our last year of our stadium, right?
That's what I'm saying. But the Bills don't have any home games in their own stadium, so that's where the comparisons end.
Okay.
We were able to say goodbye to Schaefer Stadium by beating the Ravens in the Tuck Rule game, whereas the Bills won't have that chance. So they've already.
We won our last game there, by the way, just to remind them one more time.
Against the Dolphins.
No, I mean this season in Buffalo, the last Pats game.
Oh yeah. I like the fact that the Tom Brady turned up as well to do the commentary for the Bills in that stadium one last time, just to sort of get a final glimpse at it. I'm surprised you haven't mentioned the fact that the Patriots have beaten have gone 2-0 against the Dolphins this year. When was the last time that happened?
Oh my god. Yeah, I mean, if I was taking a guess, I probably would say the 16-0 season, but it definitely would have been more recent than that.
No, it was a 2019 season. So hang on.
Oh, is it the one that we were talking about when I was saying about when we played the Chargers in the playoffs? Will be the same year, the Sony Michel year, maybe.
No, hang on. Sorry, 2016. 2016, I think, is the last time that the Patriots have been 2-0 against the Dolphins. Yeah, 2016. And what? Yeah, I was going to say, what happened that year?
Yeah, very good. That was when Brady didn't play against the Dolphins. We played them in the first 4 weeks, I think. Might have been a Jimmy G game.
Yeah, that was the Jimmy G year.
He might have even got injured in that game, and then Brissett played against the Bills. but
Yeah.
I'm taking guesses.
Well, here we go.
I'm looking the archives.
Oh no, as in getting me to Google shit. Patriots versus Dolphins 2016. You're right, Garoppolo. That was a 3 TD game, and LeGarrette Blount got a rushing TD as well.
Was that our third game of the season, though?
No, our second game of the season.
Oh, he got injured in the third game, and then Brissett played against.
Yeah, and that was in Gillette, and then I think we played them then on the final game of that season.
And as I always say, thank you, Roger, for your absolute made up Deflategate, and for letting Tom rest his arm for a month because he got to lift another Lombardi in the greatest comeback ever.
And on that note, we say goodbye. I'm still waiting for my accreditation for the Super Bowl to come in. And you're shitting on Roger Goodell. That's fine.
Wait. Thanks for all the games in London. They were great, and also
and Dublin.
But also to compliment Roger.
Sorry, we one more big thing to talk about that we haven't actually spoken about. Go on, you finish off your thing. Go on.
Yeah, just it's Roger. If you don't get the British humour, it's just tongue in cheek. Don't worry. The compliment is that potentially, could be Rams Broncos Super Bowl. 2 teams that come to London this year. Obviously, the Jags are in London as well. Like, a lot of people criticize. I actually genuinely mean this on a positive note by what the commissioner has done, and just in general with NFL UK. I think we all get guilty a bit of those teams are coming over, but actually, if you look at how their seasons are gone and how things have sort of come to fruition, it speaks well of the international game. Even the Steelers,
the Jags, the Rams, the Steelers, the Vikings weren't a million miles away.
Yeah.
The Broncos, the Jets. No wait.
But what's this one thing? Sorry.
Right. Have you seen our schedule for next year?
Yeah, it's tough.
It's tough. Our road games, apart from their divisional games, are Chicago, Kansas City, Detroit, Jacksonville, who have a good home record, and the Seahawks and the LA Chargers. And then our home games are the Raiders, who we've lost against.
Jags.
We're away against the Jags next year. Yeah.
I'm going to not go to about 6 games next year. Sorry, there's at least 3 places there.
We're away against the Jags. Bring that game to London, please. And our home games are the Raiders, who we've lost to at home already this year, the Steelers, who we lost to at home already this year, the Packers, the Broncos, and the Vikings. Nobody will be complaining about starting the schedule next year.
We're 3-2 in those home games, and then I reckon road games at least 3 there, and then the division will win at least 4 because of who's in it. So another 10 wins. Yeah.
2 wins against the Dolphins, 2 wins against the Jets.
We're back, and after this season, for as long as Drake Maye is a Patriots quarterback, we will never miss the playoffs again.
Never miss it.
It's just unless he's injured, he's not going to be none of this Mahomes down year and then, oh no, I'm injured, and that's why we didn't make you're already out, mate.
So
Maye is the face of the league now.
In the AFC's Big Four, Joe Burrow out, Drake Maye in. Because Joe Burrow is going to get a move somewhere else, I think.
I never should say soft spot because they are rivals, but I would love Joe Burrow to go to the Jets.
No, because Joe Burrow would be ruined by the Jets. There isn't a quarterback that can't be ruined by the Jets. There isn't one.
But it would be so good. Think how happy Larry would be.
I think Joe Burrow should go to the Rams when Matt Stafford retires after the Rams win a Super Bowl this year.
Why is everybody saying that Matt Stafford's going to retire? Is this actually going to happen?
I know he might give another year, but he's still not 40, which is gas. That's the record. That's the standard we have now. He's 38. Yeah.
He's got one more year left.
But if they win the Super Bowl, he's gonna end on that high. Why wouldn't he?
But people used to say the same about Brady. I know it's different in Tom Brady.
So Brady's different. Different.
He's the unique. Like Peyton obviously was smart enough to go, but Stafford's not as bad.
I know. In fairness, Peyton had regressed and was a game manager.
Yeah, his shoulder was done.
Stafford.
Yeah, If Stafford, if the shoulder injury thing was true about how bad it was in the off season, and he's actually been playing through a lot of that and had to rest, then maybe he does just go.
Yeah, it's
I'm
back
out.
injury as well. It's just So yeah,
Oh, that was at the back, yeah. But I
yeah.
mean, when you're carrying a West Coast franchise that doesn't have much history, it's
doesn't have much history. There's barely
and
any.
I used
Well,
to love them in the early days of what with obviously like Kurt Warner and yeah.
I don't know. I was never into the St. Louis Rams. I always liked, but I like the LA Rams. Don't know why.
The logo's horrible.
I like the new one since they've done the LA. I didn't like the old just like sheep one. I like the LA one. I do. I think that's pretty inventive.
I think more so it might be like the way it looks on the helmet and the jerseys could be more creative, but
do you believe there's only one team whose jersey I have that aren't the Patriots, and it's the Rams? I have an Aaron Donald one in there somewhere.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I picked it.
I'll have to burn my old team jersey or hide it this weekend.
Your what?
My LaDainian Tomlinson jersey.
Oh, just hide everything. We're in the playoffs now. It's Patriots or nothing. That's it.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to get rid of that.
You can wear your Tony Romo because he's gonna be on the call in the AFC Championship game when we're playing in it. That's different. See, we're looking ahead. I'm assuming CBS still has the rights to that.
Who is he at the Super Bowl this year?
No, NBC are at the Super Bowl this year.
Oh, that's exciting. They're your favorites.
They are, yeah. So it's going to be Mike Tirico, and this is kind of stuff we see from Patrick Mahomes. That's he's Chris Collinsworth.
He said he saw the memes, and you see this.
Yeah, and because who was he talking about? Brock Purdy,
unreal. CJ Stroud or someone. Brock Purdy. Yeah.
Brock Purdy. It was like if this was Patrick Mahomes, we'd be like, oh my god, it's Patrick Mahomes.
I was like, no, only you would be saying that.
Yeah,
Chris. We might have to start doing the slide in at the end and start of each episode.
There we go. So yeah, to see Al Michaels is staying on for another year, commentating on Prime.
We love Big Al.
And he's taking a lot of shit on social media, which I think is a bit unfair on him. I know he's not as good as he used to be, but he's still Al Michaels. So no, I'm
the game, and you've called go out on your own terms. Don't listen to these new age social media know nothings.
These new age social media people.
Yeah, don't worry about them. I'm not even including us in that.
No, but no, because we're positive. We're saying good things.
Yeah,
we like Al Michaels. We like Al Michaels. I even like Kirk Herbstreit. I think he does an all right job on in the NFL plays. I think. So yeah, geez, we've gone into a broadcast talk. You can tell I work in media.
Yeah. The other thing, actually, maybe before we go, even though it's not Pats related, is the college football's tonight for the right to play the Hurricanes.
All about the U. All about the U.
Wait, what?
That's Miami. That's the thing. Do you know why I like? Do you know why I like the U? Do you know why I like the U? Because they hate Notre Dame, and fucking Notre Dame annoy me.
You got your hunchback and Notre Dame. You got your quarterback.
So you're an Oregon man. Did you see actually they did a little thing where they put out like all the four teams in the semifinals who's going to win, and Christian Gonzalez just like picked up everything and put it all in the Oregon bucket. You should have a Gonzalez Oregon jersey, and not a Justin Herbert one.
I'm so glad because my mate who tried to first get me into Oregon loved Justin Herbert. I'm so glad I haven't bought that because
are you going to save tonight to watch it?
Yeah,
I'm thinking about him. I don't know if I will. If I'm awake, I will.
I've watched one Mendoza game properly. I want to see if he's the.
But it's Mendoza versus Devontae Moore. Dante Moore and now I know Dante Moore might necessarily declare for the draft.
He shouldn't declare.
But like people, mock drafts are putting him as just as the second overall pick. He needs another year in college. He's only played never played in 22 starts.
Like you said.
Okay, that's the last point because we're on 58 minutes. Mendoza and at Vegas is hilarious because all Mendoza ever talks about is God, and he's going to Vegas, Sin City. But Mendoza at the Jets, he would just be eviscerated by New York, and it would just I'm not having it. Maybe the Dolphins move up and they get their hometown boy as the quarterback.
I think Jets fans are probably one of the few fan bases in America that wouldn't care about someone being religious. Like if he was in Texas, they'd be like, We could overlook, even though we love football, we could overlook this because he's a man of God.
It's like Mendoza is perfect. It's like he's giving all the credit to his teammates and all this. Like I give my faith from
Very
God,
good
and we have pride in being Cuban and all this. And the Jets would be like, "Oh, what the fuck is this? You gotta play the ball."
A couple of times in MetLife, they wouldn't give a shit if they weren't winning. But Jets fans, on that final note, tune in Sunday night because a real team's playing and you get to see the Pats in the playoffs once again.
Poor Jets fans don't even know how to spell playoffs. On that note, thank you very much for listening to Pat's Pals. There we go.